now we would love to introduce you to our KGA Career Insight session. We've got some students here today who are really interested and have requested to hear about the role of a personal trainer. So welcome, and if you'd love to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll get into the true detail when these guys start asking you lots of questions. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, amazing. Hello, thank you so much for having me. So I am Michelle, I am a personal trainer. I'm also a nutrition coach, but how did I get to where I am now, and what do I do now? So at the moment, we'll start in the present time. So I train clients one-to-one at my home gym. Obviously, a lot of people train individuals or groups in a gym setting, in a home setting, in a private gym. Sometimes they even train them at their own house. So the role is so diverse, and it's what you decide to make it. And it's really important that it's what you decide to make it, because it's what you feel most comfortable with. And bear in mind, when you're working with people, so face to face with people, it's really important that you not only enjoy what you do, but that you enjoy the interaction with somebody else. And when you're in that moment, when you're in that personal training setting, nothing else matters apart from your client. Nothing else, no matter what happened before it, the client you were just with, the client you're about to be with, it matters about that client in that moment. So that's really important to understand. But also, it's so much fun. It is so much fun, and you can work with whoever you want to. If you only like working with males, then only work with males. If you only like working with females, only work with females. If you only like working with the elderly, you can specialize and you can work with people in, retirement homes. If you only like working with children, you can work in schools. The role is so diverse, and it is completely, again, what you decide to make it. So how did I get to where I am now? Don't forget, please butt in and ask me any questions. So obviously I went to school, I did A-levels. It's quite evident from the beginning I had no idea what I wanted to do. So my A-levels were history, drama, and I don't know what you guys call it now, but DT food, so design and technology and food. So they're all so different. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had an inclination that I wanted to be a dietitian, but if I'm completely honest, it sounded like a lot of hard work to get there. So I decided to not do that at the time. I was never very academically forward, so I was never very, top of the class at school. I left with B's and C's in my GCSEs, and then again went on to do A-levels purely because I had no idea what I wanted to do. But I didn't go to university. I left after A-levels and I got a job in a travel agent. Really random, but I got a job in a travel agent in sales, and then that's the path that my whole career took. So I then started working in sales. So I worked for loads of different companies: Goodyear tires, Dunlop tires. I don't know whether you've ever heard of those, but I became a business development manager for them. So the travel agency job took me into a sales job in a metal industry, very male orientated. But in the metal industry, I then became a business development manager, which meant I wasn't then sat at a desk. I was out on the road. And that was a pivotal moment because I realized I hated being in an office. I hated working with lots and lots and lots of people around me. I liked the one-to-one interaction that I would get by being on the road and meeting customers and going to their place of work. And that's kind of where it took a turn for me. So I was then a business development manager for 7 years, 8 years for varying different companies. I chopped and changed jobs every couple of years because I get bored really easily. So that,
Michelle, that's a really good point actually to cut in on, because one of our pupils here, Reese, he has a question for you. In fact, no, it's Tristan that has a question that links to that point, which he would like to ask, if that's okay.
Of course.
What's it like being a professional trainer?
So he's asking, what's it like being a professional trainer? So you're talking about kind of what you discovered you enjoyed. So what is it about that you really enjoy?
About being a personal trainer?
Yes.
I like that I get to choose my hours. I like that I can choose when I work and who I work with. So if there's somebody that I don't want to work with, or somebody that I'm not qualified enough to work with, I can recommend them to somebody else in the local area. and it's helpful for me at the moment because I'm a mum of 2 children, so I can work it around me. And it's very different to an office job where you have to go in at 9 and you have to come home at 5. So I like that I get to choose my own hours, and I like the interaction with somebody, and I'm very much an outgoing person, as you will find. I talk a lot, so it helps because I get to talk all day for a job.
How's that sound, Tristan? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Reese has got a question for you.
If you have a nutrition degree, what level do you have it?
So I've got a nutrition level 4. They go up and up and up, and they go down. So basically, when you qualify as a personal trainer, you aren't technically qualified in nutrition. So there's 3 different levels. So you can be a fitness instructor, which means that you can work in a gym environment and you can help people on the gym floor. So you can show them how the equipment works, you can run fitness classes. But to be a personal trainer is another level up. So it's another course that you need to take. And once you're a personal trainer, you have a basic understanding of nutrition. Once you've got that basic understanding of nutrition, you can give hints and tips to people as to subtle things that they can change and what their plate should look like, and what are good things to eat and what are not so good things to eat. And then you've got the next level up, which is where I am, which is a nutrition coach, which is nutrition level 4, which takes another year to train for. But then, so I can give people more specific guidance on what they should be eating to get to their goals. So if they want to gain weight, if they want to lose weight, if they want to build muscle, depending on what they want, I can then steer them in the right direction. And then above me is a dietitian. So that's somebody who, if you have an illness or an injury, if you then have to go and be drip fed for whatever reason, they are more specialized to say, okay, your body needs exactly these vitamins and minerals. So, and also a lot of cancer patients, a lot of type 1 diabetes. So do you guys know the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes?
Yeah, you got your hand up there,
I
Lou?
believe I know because my mum's a nurse.
Yeah. Do you want to have a go?
Diabetes can be caused by health problems. I think it needs health problems get either worse or change.
Yep, amazing. So that's
And
type
it's
2
not
diabetes.
saying, get sliced when you eat differently and anything like that, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
Varies from person to person.
Yeah, everybody. So type 2 diabetes is 99% self-inflicted. So it's based on your lifestyle and based on what you eat. And that can affect so many different things. It can affect your circulation, it can affect your heart health, and it affects your day-to-day life. Type 1 diabetes, it can happen to absolutely anybody, and it can only be medically controlled. Whereas type 2 diabetes can be controlled by your fitness, so how active you are and what you eat. So it means that I can't work with type 1 diabetic because it's medical, but a dietitian can. Now, a dietitian, to study to be a dietitian, takes about 3 years longer than what I've done.
So would you recommend as a personal trainer that it's necessary to have some nutrition knowledge and qualifications, or could these students go and become a personal trainer without having to go down the dietitian route?
Yeah, so you can become a personal trainer without any nutrition knowledge. The only reason I would suggest to get some knowledge for yourself, even if you decide not to go down the official study route, but do your own research into it, is because when you're working with somebody, conversations will come up and they will ask your opinion on something, and you can quite easily say, I don't know, I'm really sorry, I can't actually give you that information. But it's really handy and good for them to see actually you know what you're talking about. So you can have that knowledge behind you that's saying you're going to do 20 burpees now, but then actually afterwards what's a really good idea is you've worked really, really hard, so go and have a protein-based meal with a little bit of carbohydrates for this reason and that reason. So rather than just being like, work your bum off in this setting, see you later, see you next week, you can give them a little bit more help, and they're going to then get the results they want. They're then going to stay with you and keep giving you their money because they like the results that they're getting. So it's in your best interest that you're as knowledgeable as you can be in your area. And also, this might just be me, but nutrition is so interesting, and we all eat. You guys eat, I eat. So
They're
why,
eating now, actually.
exactly. So why not?
Not very
understand-
healthy, actually. We've got lots of crisps going on here.
I'm not eating from I'm a healthy boy. I have fish and chips.
Oh,
Ah, nice
Fair
fish,
enough, yes, I know.
omega-3. I love
20
it.
burpees for you, Luke.
No, I do go to the gym. Yeah, I do every Tuesday and every Saturday. I try like to stay quite active.
Oh,
Great.
nice. That's good.
Because
It's so
the amount
good.
of food I eat, because I grow to be very tall. As information, I'm 5'11".
Wow.
I am 11.
Wow, that's taller than me, and I'm pretty tall. I'm 5'8". That's,
You're 11. You're age 11 and 5'11". Impressive.
wow.
So Tristan has another question. Tristan?
What is the most complicated thing you've ever done?
In the role of a personal trainer, yeah?
What's
Did
the
you-
most complicated?
Thing you've ever done in your role as a personal trainer?
Work with a client who's got fibromyalgia. So fibromyalgia is an autoimmune disease, which affects your muscle control. It affects what you can and cannot do. It's something that I am qualified to work with, but it meant that even though, so this is where there's a bit of blurred line. So you can be qualified to become a personal trainer, but actually you learn so much more doing the role. It's a bit like driving a car. So you learn to drive a car, you pass, but actually you learn so much more about driving a car when you're doing it every single day. So it's the same concept. Once you've trained, amazing, you've got your tick box, you've got your certificate, but once you're actually doing it every single day, you learn different things about what different people struggle with and different ailments and injuries and what to do. So if someone comes into a session with me and I've planned for them to do loads of deadlifts, loads of back squats, and actually they come in, which is all using your back, and they come in and they go, oh, do you know what, I really hurt my back yesterday. And then you think, how can I amend everything I've just planned for you, because you can't use or you can't do anything centered around your back. So you've got to be able to really quickly change things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. Sorry, I'm finding the mic button. So another question. We were looking before your session started at Career Pilot, and we were looking at the profile for a personal trainer. One of the areas that we noticed was the salary. So if I remind myself what it says, so it says annual salary 14,000 to 22,000. So if people want to do this as a career, but they want to grow beyond that amount, is it something that just can't happen, or do you have some advice on how you can either expand your role as a personal trainer or go into something that's linked to it but a higher level after? Does that exist? Like, what would your advice be for that?
Yeah, so I would say that so when you first become qualified, and also the routes into it are very different. So you can pay your own money and decide to train on your own, or you can go into a gym environment and be earning a salary to start with, and they actually put you through your training. So you're not only earning money, but they then train you, or they put you through the training program, which is the easiest option. And also you're then on the gym floor and you're training at the same time. So that's a really good route in. If you do decide to go on your own and do it on your own, I would still suggest getting at least a year knowledge in a gym environment, because it's really helpful. But when you first start, the salary is really basic, but then when you're qualified as a personal trainer, you then get money on top of that. So for every personal training session in that gym environment, say for example it's £40, the gym will get £10 and you then get £30. So not only have you got a basic salary of 20,000, you're then also earning, for every personal training session you do, you're earning another £30 and another £30 and another £30. So that's how you can top up your salary. So from my perspective, so I only became a personal trainer when I was 31. So I had no experience whatsoever before that. And when I first went into it, my first year, I've always been self-employed, so I've never worked for somebody. So I would then pay a gym to rent a space and then get the employment from them. So for example, you know where I said the gym gets £10 and then you take £30? So the same thing happened for me, but I would effectively rent their time. So I would give them £10 and they would give me £30. But for me, so when I first started my first year, my turnover was 21,000, and I'm now 5 years along that road, and my turnover was 39,000. So you can see that you make it however much you want to work. you then make it and you turn over how much you want to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. That's great to hear. How does that sound? Yeah, Luke's got a question to add to that, I think.
Would that be like sort of tips for a job at a job at a restaurant? It'd be like tips, like you tip your server.
Do they tip you?
No, they bring me gifts, but they don't tip me, mainly because it's quite expensive anyway. If you
the gifts on eBay, that's even more money.
We've got an entrepreneur here.
Yeah, I guess you could. I mean, around Christmas time, people might want to tip you, but not really. And a lot of people would pay. So rather than pay £40 an hour, they would pay in a bulk. So they would buy 10 hours worth of sessions. So say, for example, I charge £40 an hour. They would then pay £400 and they would use the 10 sessions across a period of time. So there's no real tipping as such. But I like where you're going with it. I might actually use that.
Like a little tip jar, you just put it on your hand. And doesn't have to be a tip jar, like a little transaction card.
That's true. Do you know what, buskers nowadays have actually got something where you can just scan, don't they? Where you, like, rather than drop £1 in when they're paying them, you can scan the money. I should do that.
We're also on Career Pilot. We saw that the role of a personal trainer is actually increasing, like it's predicted to increase. Do you see that when you're working and meeting other personal trainers? Do you see the need increasing, and why do you think that is, and how do you think it will grow over the coming years?
Yeah, I definitely see a need for it, because people have a lot of anxiety around the gym, have a lot of anxiety around fitness, especially so social media does a very good and a very bad job of portraying fitness industry. So when you see the fitness industry on social media, you see these very slender men and women, very muscly, and if you don't fit that bill, you think you're not appropriate to go into that environment. You feel like you're not appropriate to be that personal trainer, to even try to get fit. But actually, that is only such a small percentage of people. And actually, I'm not built, I'm not super muscly, you can see, but actually I'm a really good personal trainer, so it doesn't matter what you look like. And it's the same for people that want to get fit. They want to get fit, but they feel as though they don't fit that fitness bubble, so they want to try and do it, but not in a gym environment. So sometimes they want to just work one-to-one with somebody and be in their little bubble, so they don't have to have that anxiety around seeing everybody else. So personally, I think there's a huge, and especially after lockdown, people being confined to their own homes for such a period of time, there's that whole anxiety of going into the unknown. And nobody goes into a gym going, yeah, I'm going to boss this, I know exactly what I'm doing. You have to learn the ropes, and you need somebody to help you and guide you. So I think there's always going to be a call for it. I think there always will. And at the moment, I'm inundated with inquiries. So there's absolutely no reason that that's going to change.
Wow, that's really great to hear. Reese has a question.
So I saw that you had an air up bottle. Are they worth it?
Yes, any bottle that you drink from any water, go and get, if you're not drinking now, go and get some water. So water is so important, but yes, these bottles are incredible.
Would that be a product placement we've just done there?
Yeah, I know, right? These are really good because they're actually the nicest ones to drink out of. If you don't like the taste of water, I wouldn't get these because they don't actually improve the taste that much. So I've got a peach one on. So it's like a little scent. I'll show you. It's like a little scent thing that goes on top, and it makes it smell like a flavour, whatever flavour you choose. But they don't actually smell that much, but it's really nice to drink out of. So yes, I would definitely recommend.
What do you think, Reese? Are you going to get one of those?
Maybe.
Put it on your Christmas list?
No, I'm going to get Lego for Christmas.
Lego! Oh, my husband loves Lego.
Okay, so do you have any more questions? Okay.
The thing I would say to you guys.
Pardon?
What's the best way to put on muscle?
What's the best way to put on muscle?
Consistency. Make sure you're eating the right foods, a really high level of protein, and make sure that you're working your key muscle groups every time you go to the gym. You don't need to do a leg day and an upper body day. You need to do a full body workout every time you go to the gym.
Luke's taking that on, he's nodding. So do you have any kind of last tips for
Yeah.
people either thinking of going into this route or setting up their own business like you have? You know, there's the whole kind of marketing side that you've had to deal with as a personal trainer, being self-employed. So any kind of tips for what these guys at a young age should be doing so that when they are ready to do this, they know kind of what their next steps should be?
Yeah, for sure. So the first takeaway from this is I only became a personal trainer when I was 31. So if you guys are starting years and years and years before me, that's amazing. But if you decide to go into a different area, whatever that area is, and then later on in life you think, oh, maybe actually I do want to become a personal trainer, it's never too late. Never, ever, ever. You can always change your mind. You can always change career paths. So just bear that in mind. For me, that's a huge takeaway. And I was lucky enough to actually change my mind at what I would say was the right time, but it's always the right time. But I think when it comes to running your own business and starting your own business, it takes a lot of balls to do it because you never know whether it's going to succeed or not. But if you don't try, you will never know, and you will always think, what if? You don't need a lot of money to start a business. So I started my business on £272, which is not a lot of money, and it's very precise because that is literally all I had left in my bank. And you can do it all yourself. I built my own website on wix.com, and I just put flyers everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. I put flyers up everywhere. Get yourself a social media account and just start posting. Don't overthink stuff. Don't think this isn't good enough. I'm not good enough. You are good enough. So I think that's a huge takeaway, is that if you want to do it, just do it. What's the worst that could happen?
Right. Is that good, guys?
Yeah, I was
feeling
saying
motivated.
£272, you could get 2 Lego ATT plus 5 of first battle pack, and or go online and get 2 brick, or get 2 Lego mosaics.
But you wouldn't have a personal trainer business.
I know.
Very true.
Lego stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. And if anyone else watches this recording and thinks, oh my goodness, actually, you've really motivated me, I now want to have you as my personal trainer, where do they need to go to get that information?
So you can find me on any social media platform. It's Michelle Motivates. Or guys, if any of you are watching this back and you want to reach out and you want some more information from me about starting your own business, or about becoming a personal trainer, just reach me on social media. It's Michelle Payne, and I'm sure you can get the information from Kath as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Big round of applause.